Sippers, I'm Renee.
I'm Martia.
And I'm Demetrius.
And we are Sip and Unwine, a true crime podcast. Hey ladies, hey sippers.
Hey ladies, hey sippers. How are y'all doing tonight?
Hey, y'all. I am good. How about you guys?
I'm doing great. It's True Crime Tuesday.
True Crime Tuesday. Let's do it.
Is. So the first thing what we're going to talk about is what, ladies?
Our drink.
Drink.
Yes.
Okay, so the featured drink of tonight's episode is called the Peach Soda, and it's a vodka cocktail with peach liqueur. And if you want to get a little fancy with it, you can slice up some fresh peaches and put it in your cup. But I don't have peaches, so I couldn't do that on my end. But
I got peaches.
A picture of one where it has peaches and it looks really good, but I just didn't have time to get the actual peaches to put.
I got my peaches. It's good.
Of course you do, because you always have the fruit in it, Demetrius.
I got to have the fruit.
You always do that. So, sippers, if you want to know the ingredients of this one, it will be on our Instagram page and our Facebook page. So go there. It'll be on Sip and Unwine. We're there everywhere. Sip and Unwine on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. SipnUnWINE.com. I mean, we're out there, y'all. Go find us. And if you're drinking this peach soda or even something else and listening to our Sip and Unwine True Crime podcast, just tag us. We'll love to see us. Okay, so before we begin speaking on this True Crime of the Week, we want to acknowledge the people that these crimes have left a lasting impact on. We also want to send our heartfelt sympathy to not only the survivors, but also the loved ones and friends of all the victims we are about to discuss in today's episode. So now it's time to get to the true crime of the week. So ladies and sippers, today our episode is going to land us in Columbia, Missouri. I don't know if we've been Missouri.
I don't think so.
We've been to Missouri.
Have we?
Oh, we have? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, we did learn that Missouri was the killer capital. Isn't it St. Louis?
Right.
Missouri, or if it's not the number one, it's up there. So,
right.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to be discussing the case of Deandra Buchanan. So Deandra Buchanan was born in Centerville, Illinois, which is part of the city in East St. Louis. Due to his parents being very young when they had him, he was essentially raised by his parents and his grandparents on both sides. So as a kid, he was exposed to religion, sports, musical instruments, a good education, all the things that you think you would need to have a well-rounded kid. Deandra's father was a motorcycle rider, and he'd often take Deandra out for rides with him. One day, his father told him that he couldn't ride out with him on his bike, and Deandra was real mad about it, and he stormed off. But later that day, a relative came to Deandra's house and said that his dad was just in a motorcycle crash. He went to the crash site where they were still investigating, and he was able to see his father's body lying on the ground covered with a sheet. This might have been where his life took a turn for the worse. He was around age 13 at the time. So he started getting in trouble at school and at home. During this time where Deandra's life started to derail, his cousins introduced him to selling drugs. He was enticed by the fast money, so after that, it became a way of life for him. So with the drug life, you also includes violence. It's always going to be hand in hand. So Deandra started carrying weapons everywhere he went. Pretty typical for a drug dealer, though. He even paid someone $50 in either drugs or money, $50 currency, to be like the doorman. So they would answer the door for him. So, how drug dealers are, they won't go to the actual door to see if somebody knocks on it, because somebody might shoot them through the door. Yeah, because he knew somebody, like one of his, I guess, fellow drug dealers got shot and killed that way. So he paid, I don't want to call him a drug fiend, but, somebody who actually, he did drugs too. So he would pay him, the $50 for it to either be in drugs or money, just to answer the door for him. And that was his job. And so he was kind of like the quote unquote door guy. So he met a young lady named Angela Brown when she was 16. They met through Angela's cousin. They dated for a few years. And within that time, they started living together and had 2 daughters. At first, Deandra didn't let Angela know how deep he was in the drug game and his other criminal activities. Eventually, one day that changed when their home that they were living in was broken into, and they had to move immediately. After that, she was no longer, quote unquote, allowed to give out her address to anyone. That meant no visitors, and that included her family too. So one day he found out that Angela invited her cousin to the house while Deandra was out, and that led to a physical fight between the two. He assaulted her. He was later arrested that night, and he was sentenced to probation for the assault. There was a warrant issued for his arrest in August of 2000, based in part upon some urine tests that he took, while he was on probation, that showed that he had been using cocaine and marijuana. On November 7th, 2000, Deandra attended a family gathering at his stepfather's house. Angela, his girlfriend, and their two kids was at the family gathering along with other family members. They were celebrating that his aunt just got an apartment. During that party, Deandra wanted to smoke some weed, so he had the weed guy bring him some, weed over to the house. When he got the weed, he rolled it up and smoked it. And then after he started smoking, he said he started hallucinating. He went and got his weapon, and because he explained, he thought that it was some funny stuff, as he said, funny stuff going on. He just couldn't explain what was going on because he was hallucinated. But he thought somebody was trying to kill him. So that is never going to go, well with that when you're smoking and hallucinating and something else going on. So after that, he said he didn't remember what happened for the rest of that night. So according to the court documents, because since he says he doesn't remember everything, this is what's in the court documents on how they document.
That's the story, and he's sticking to it.
Right. Wow. Basically. So Deandra and Angela had been fighting, and they were up, this is earlier that day before the party itself. So Deandra and Angela had been fighting, and he was upset with her all day. So at around 6:30 that evening, Deandra was heard saying that he was, quote, gonna kill a bunch of motherfuckers tonight. He also shoved Angela and threatened to kill her, but the people who heard Deandra's statement didn't take him seriously when he said that. At that party that night, Deandra accused Angela of cheating on him and also said that she and others in the room were trying to kill him or put him in jail. He pointed the shotgun at various people, including Juanita Hoffman, which is his aunt, and he shouted that they were all trying to, quote unquote, set him up or hurt him. He used a cell phone to dial 911. So he actually called 911 and told the operator that they needed to come over there because there was people there attempting to kill him. So when
I can't even imagine the scene, like everybody's having a great time, and all of a sudden he is just tripping.
And he was standing there while he has a gun.
Yeah, and you're just trying to calm him down because this is your family member and stuff. But what do you do when you're hallucinating, or he says he's hallucinating? And, it's just so chaotic. So, so after he called 911 and said that, they was trying to kill him, his aunt tried to leave the house with her two grandkids because they had, her two grandkids were there. Deandra blocked her way and told her not to open the door. His stepdad gave his girlfriend, the stepdad's girlfriend at the time, a cell phone and told her to call the police as well. And says that, to have people come there because it was turning chaotic. So she and other people at the party ran out the back door of the house and they just, fled. So Jeffrey Stemmons, and this is the door guy that I was explaining to you guys earlier, his name is Jeffrey Stemmons. He hid in a bedroom closet. So at that point, a gunshot was heard while Jeffrey was in the closet. His aunt Juanita was running from Deandra in the house, and Jeffrey Stemmons, who was, hiding in that closet, heard the aunt shout to Deandra, quote, "Deandra, stop this. I love you." Then he shot his aunt once in the chest and she fell to the floor. As people were running out of the house, he encountered his stepfather, which he was hiding next to the refrigerator. He shot his stepfather in the chest after that, and then the bullet damaged his heart and it penetrated his liver and it killed his stepfather there. Then he followed people running out of the house because, you can just imagine how chaotic it was at the time. So people were running outside the house. And so he ran after them and he kept shooting at people, but I don't think he hit people at that point. But then he reloaded his gun. So he actually ran out of bullets. He went in his pocket and reloaded the gun and kept shooting more and more. So then that's when he saw Angela Brown, which is his girlfriend, with their two kids. So she stopped running when Deandra asked her to come here. So I guess when she was running, they was both running or whatever, he called for her. So she actually stopped and went to him. So remember, he said that night that he thought that somebody was trying to kill him. Well, he was explaining.
Right.
Yeah. So she was explaining to him that she didn't try to set him up and she wasn't trying to kill him and that he needed some help because, no one was trying to kill him. It was just all in his head. So while Angela was holding her two babies, and at the time, I think one was like 5 months and the other one was maybe like 2. So it was still little babies. He put the shotgun to her neck and pulled the trigger. He later told police that he shot her in the neck to avoid hitting his 2 kids. So after shooting the 3 people, which was his aunt, his girlfriend, and his stepfather, he took off on foot. He concealed the shotgun in his clothes when he encountered a passing motorist, Jerry Kay. He was an acquaintance of Deandra and once dated Angela back in the day. So Jerry knew of him. He knew Deandra, wasn't a total stranger, but he saw him. And so not knowing what just happened, Jerry stopped and offered Deandra a ride. So after getting in the car, he showed Jerry the shotgun and told him to shut up and drive. He then revealed that he just killed Angela. Jerry noticed that the muzzle of the shotgun was slowly taking aim on him. So he pushed the shotgun away, and Jerry saw a police car coming in his direction and started to slow down. That's when Deandra told him, quote, "I don't need you no more anyway," and then shot him in the chest. After being shot, Jerry jumped out of the window of the car, and the car was still moving, and the vehicle rolled off into the street, into the yard before coming to a complete stop. Deandra ran into the backyard of a house. Then later he surrendered to the police right after that because they was, like on him at that point. The defense conceded that Deandra, so this is after he was all arrested and everything. So the defense conceded that Deandra had shot the victims, but presented evidence in support of a theory that Deandra suffered from, quote, a cocaine-induced psychotic disorder with delusions and other mental illnesses at the time of the murders. And
they got a diagnosis for everything.
And I guess that's the official name. I don't know, but I guess, it's in quotes. So yeah. And then so the result, they wouldn't be able to, as a result, he was unable to act with deliberation. And at the close of the evidence that they had, the instructions and arguments of the counsel, the jury found Deandra guilty as charged of 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree assault, which was for Jerry Kay, because Jerry Kay actually survived.
He was that's what I was getting ready to say. So he survived getting shot in the
wow.
So he did survive. He spent, I think they said like a month or so in the hospital, but he's paralyzed. I think his upper body is paralyzed in some way.
Oh man.
So so he still has, lasting impact on it that he won't be able to come back from on that. But yeah, he did survive. So he was sentenced to life in prison and is serving out his time at Jefferson Correctional Facility. And also, Cyprus, actually, before he was sentenced to life in prison, he was sentenced to death, but it was commuted to life in prison. So listen to a few of these excerpts of what Deandra Buchanan said about the murder, about that night, and about him being sentenced to death.
It was a very life-changing experience back in November 7th of 2000. Me and an associate of mine, we was talking, and I had ran out of marijuana, and so he said, "Well, I know where to get some from." So he went to get it or whatever, and he came back. He dropped it off. I rolled it up like I normally do, and I started smoking it. I always knew how it made me feel, but for some particular reason this night here, I don't know what it was or whatever, but I'm telling you how I felt. I started feeling strange. I can truly say it made me feel to a point where I felt like everybody in the house was a threat. I ended up from Mary Street in a car with somebody that ain't never did nothing to me. I shot him. It got to a point where when they arrested me, I still was messed up. Man, I became so numb, man. Being that I done already pretty much accepted death, being in the streets. I mean, when he gave it to me, it was like, wow, it happened. I wasn't overwhelmed, but I was shocked, period, based on not the sentence, but just the charge, period. You got all this evidence, right, showing that something's wrong with me. You take that and you charge me with first-degree murder. Now, that's the only thing that really threw me.
So I, did some checking on little Deandra to see what was going on, since I did get this case, Sippers, off of I Am Killer off of Netflix. So he kind of explains everything what happened. But since that time that he's been in prison, he's been kind of pretty busy. Forgive me if I'm not familiar with these people, but there's a London-based rap group called N-Dubs. And I would think that Demetrius might know it because, I mean, she knows this world music and stuff. N-Dubs. No. And then there's a rapper in the group named Dappy. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
Okay. It looks like they had some good hits and, number one albums and stuff over there. But yeah, so Dappy's baby mama, she has 2 kids with Dappy. She was engaged to Deandra after he was incarcerated. So, what? And this was reported in 2020. So she wrote him one day, and I guess the rest is history. She said he wrote him back, and she actually moved to Missouri to be closer to him.
Good evening.
Yeah, and then she kind of petitioned to get him out of prison and all this other craziness.
What?
Yeah, and I tried to follow up on it, but it doesn't look like they're together anymore because this was in 2020, and I couldn't find where they are still together or even in contact, or even if she still lives in Missouri, because she moved from London to Missouri to be closer to him. And they never met in person. So, I
was getting ready to ask for clarification on that. Girl. So she moved from over the pond, as they say.
Yes.
Right.
To be closer
to be with him, to be with this killer. Wow. Like, I don't even know
all these available men in the whole entire world. And you choose one that killed, 3 or 4 people?
3 people, right. Almost 4. And one of those people was your girlfriend holding your 2 kids.
Holding your children.
Yeah. And you shoot. Yeah. So, but there is hope for Deandra. I mean, I guess since he's not with this young woman named Kay Vessel, he's not with her no more. He is currently on meetanninmate.com.
What in the world?
Yeah, on Meet an Inmate. Let me pull it up for you because he has a whole profile and everything. It's fascinating that these people get to have a chance at life still, even though that they are,
hard criminals.
The part that's got me speechless, like, right. You took away 3 lives, but you over here dating, women moving across the world for you, and all this other.
Yep.
Wow.
So if you ladies are out there that are, interested, he's on meetanninmate.com, and let me read you his profile. He got a picture of him and everything. Deandra Buchanan.
Not you advertising for him.
Girl, criminal number 1036512. Yes. Okay. And this is what his little bio says. I am looking for a beautiful, respectable woman to build a foundation with that can be loyal and honest with me and potentially build a life together after release. Ninja, you not getting out. He's serving life.
I was like, what, did I miss something? Girl, is he getting out?
And then it says, if you would like to learn more about my imprisonment, you can watch my episode on the documentary I Am Killer featured on Netflix. I Am Killer, episode 7, Family Affairs. Ma'am, he advertised his episode.
Proud of that.
Yes.
Talk about deranged.
Yeah, so here's some things about him. His date of birth. He was born September of 1973. He's 6 feet tall. He has a high school education. They asked him what his occupation was before prison. He put marketing, production, and entertainment. Not sure what any of that is, but I mean, he was a drug dealer, but I guess. And then his activities while he's in prison. He's a barber. He does legal. It says legal working. In parentheses, it says practicing law. Okay. And he takes care of the elderly, hospice, and reading.
So he's just a whole entrepreneur.
Well, yeah,
Exactly. Got his hand in all kind of different pots.
Right.
And then at the, the last question that asked him is like, anything else you want to include? Says anything else? He put studying human nature. So, yeah.
I can't.
What is that reference to?
I don't know. Studying human nature. I mean, I guess so. Ladies,
himself. You need to be studying himself.
And I
want to study the women who are actually going for guys like this. Like, I want to know more about the women who are like turned on by stuff like this.
He wants some letters. So I mean, and sorry, men, but he says that he would like letters from just women. So, ladies out there, if you're interested,
what in the world, is going on with the world?
Have at it, I guess. I can't.
I wonder how his kids, who are probably well into their 40s or however old,
No, his kids are like 20, like about 20 now.
Oh, he was the one born in the 70s.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was born in the 70s. They was born in like 2000-ish.
Early 2000s.
I wonder how they feel about this mess of a father they have. Like,
I would have no ties with him.
Right.
It's disgusting.
Wow.
But yeah, so I mean, and then they have some people on there that, that's done light crimes. So I guess it's not all hardened criminals. If you guys are out there searching for, a pen pal, there you have it. And then they also have a section of, because they have it by age, men, female, but then they also have a section of people who haven't been contacted, who haven't had a letter yet. So they have them out there. So,
are you serious right now?
Yes.
This is crazy.
Yeah. So if you want to pick somebody who haven't got a letter, it's Meet An Inmate. Meet-an-inmate.com. Wow. Yes. Men and females out there. So yeah, you can, have at it. But yeah. Oh, and then also, if you guys are interested, whoever has like, family members or whatever that's in prison right now, and you would like to put them on meetanninmate.com, there's a form you can fill out. Yeah, and it has prices. So it's $35 for 12 months or $50 for 2 years.
Who is the person that came up with this site? Because I bet they are rolling in the dough. Like, wow.
Yeah, and then you can actually have your prisoner featured. So if you want to have him featured, which I guess put him at the top of the page of some sort, or some sort of highlight on him, it's $70 for 12 months and $90 for 2 years. And then there's a disclaimer, though. There is a disclaimer. It says, we are no longer accepting ads from sex offenders. So if you are a sex offender out there, you can't be on Meet an Inmate.
Because that's where they draw the line.
Mm-hmm. Well, it says they are no longer accepting. So that means they did accept it before.
Yeah, and they decided to put their foot down.
But now they says, no, I don't think that's a good look. So yeah. So there you have it. All right. So that is the end of the Deandra Buchanan story. So hopefully he stays in prison forever, because he's trying to appeal and all this other stuff and get out and blah, blah, blah. He needs to stay right where he's at, because he's claiming that he don't remember. But I think he does. I think he remembers, because they did say that he had a history of lacing his weed with cocaine and stuff. So it's not like it was the first time that he felt something that was off. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, even though it still can make you go crazy, but still, I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't done that before, but still.
Wow.
But yeah, so there's the end of that story. So we have one more, and it's a missing person, but it's a missing person. It's kind of like an investigative kind of deal on this one, because it's it's not closed all the way just yet. So this is a missing person investigation of, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this young lady's name right. It's Misrach Ewuneties, and I hope I'm saying it almost right or close to it. So Misrach, she was 20 years old, and she was a junior at the elite Ivy League Princeton University. She was last seen around 3 a.m. on Friday, October 14th, 2022, near the Scully Hall, and which that was a residential building located on the southeast part of the Ivy League institution's suburban New Jersey campus. So her brother's name is Universe, and I think that's how you pronounce it, because it's spelled like universe, but I'm not sure if it might be pronounced different, even though it's spelled that way. Mm-hmm. But her brother's name is Deandras Ewuneties, and he said that her phone later pinged near a housing complex off campus that night, but she hasn't been heard since then. So that's the only thing that they had for her. So Misrach's body was found outside on the facility's ground behind the tennis courts at approximately 1 p.m. on this past Thursday, October 20th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the crazy part of this, so this is why I wanted to bring this, because I still think it's something else that went on. Because for one, she's only 20 years old. She was found, behind a tennis courts, by facility. But there's an autopsy that they performed on October 21st, 2022, by the Middlesex County Medical Examiner's Office, and it'll determine the cause of death. But they're saying there is, quote, no obvious signs of injury to her body, for her death. I mean, and it says that her death does not appear suspicious or criminal in nature, which I feel it's weird.
What does that mean?
It sounds like it is criminal in nature, though.
Because it says,
and I don't even know nothing about the crime scene.
Right. Because it says no obvious signs of injury and her death does not appear suspicious. That doesn't suspicious or criminal. And then it says prosecutors have said that there is no obvious signs of foul play in her death. So I'm just like, how do you find a body?
Exactly. And how deep have they looked into surveillance footage, phone records? You don't just pop up dead on
at age 20
court.
Right, at age 20. So her brother was saying, he's being a real champion about this and kind of, pushing this story forward, because he was telling the Sun newspaper saying that the area that she was found at, it makes him feel that it was, it was something suspicious, because they said they had there were some trees that had to be cut when they were removing her body out of where she was at.
Oh my goodness.
So how did she get there? Would you really just wander deep in the woods? And it just, so her family is from Ethiopia, and they set up a GoFundMe account and has raised over $100,000 in the first 24 hours it was put up. So I think the thing is that last I checked, it was like 117,000. So the GoFundMe is to help with assisting, for their expenses associated with the funeral and independent autopsy and significant travel. So the family's going to try to, I think they have enough. I'm not sure how much an autopsy costs, but they're going to have an independent autopsy on their own, even though the county is doing an autopsy. But just the fact that they say that it doesn't even seem suspicious, that, I would definitely want to have an independent autopsy on top of whatever the one that they're doing.
Right.
Just to make sure, and then of course, toxicology and all that, it takes weeks for it to come back on,
Don't worry, the streets will talk. Somebody knows something.
Yeah, it's just really strange. So I'm hoping that they do have an answer, because it just doesn't seem right that they'll just be like, okay, well, it's just really nothing. We couldn't find anything criminal about it. She just passed away and continue with life. I think they're trying to cover for the school, because you don't want to have that on the school, that someone was murdered.
Right.
Something happened to them. So, and it's such a prestigious, college, the Ivy League school, and all that. So I think it's kind of a little bit of that there. And then she was Ethiopian coming into there.
My heart goes out to the family. You send your kid off to go to college out of the country as that, and this is what happens.
Right.
And then they're saying that there's nothing strange about the circumstances.
Yeah, you're just wait a minute,
what? Case out there, because hopefully her family will get justice, because this makes no sense.
Right, it doesn't. It's really unfortunate. All right, ladies, so we have come to the end of our episode
already.
I know.
Wow.
Right.
I'm gonna research this guy a little further. You got my interest sparked.
And then if you guys are interested, Meet an Inmate is always open.
What?
It's open. It is always open. So there you go. And if you guys do meet an inmate, let us know. I'd like to know how that happens. What goes on there. Yeah. Be interesting. All right. Well, sippers.
Okay.
Until next time, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
Okay. Bye, sippers. Bye, ladies.
Bye, ladies. Bye, sippers.
Bye.